Hello, this is Nick Heyward, and you're listening to Six Towns Radio. Have a fantastic day.
Broadcasting to Stoke-on-Trent and the world. This is Six Towns Radio.
Right, it's time for a very, very special guest on the line. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Nick Heyward. How are you doing today, Nick?
Very well, how are you?
Oh, it's good. It's nice up here in Stoke. We've got the summer. I don't know how long it's going to last for, but we've got it at the moment.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it's like we're sun chasers around this country at the moment, aren't we? There's a bit here and a bit there, and it pokes through here, pokes through there, and everyone's running around like musical chairs.
Yeah. We've got you on the line today to talk about what you're up to. I know you're in the process of making a new album. How's that going?
Good. I mean, it's been very slow in coming. But I'm just writing and recording. I'm working with my son, which is it's brilliant. He just so happens to have grown up into a fantastic engineer. Yeah, it's fantastic. So, don't know how that happened. Amazing.
Well, that's it. He's got a very talented father.
Bless you, bless you. I remember when he used to clean. I used to have this little Porter studio, which is like a little 4-track with you put cassettes on it, and the really early days of home recording. And he used to clean it, and then once it broke, and he mended it. And I said, "How did you do that, Ollie?" And he said, "I just don't know. I just fiddled with a few bits, and so then we just started kind of working together like that. He would just be there, and now we do gigs. He's always doing out front sound or monitors, and in the studio. He's not just for me, but for loads of people. I mean, he's Zach Starkey's engineer. He runs his studio. Wow.
There's a little nugget I didn't know, but that's great.
If you want, you'll employ him.
Yeah,
he's the best. You'll be, your work will soar. Oliver Heyward.
Yeah, well, I don't think you're local to Stoke, so it'd be a bit of a train journey. Yeah, we could do with more sound engineers, definitely.
I think the whole country needs more sound engineers.
Yeah.
More bands, too.
Yeah.
More bands, Vicar.
Yeah. I know you're very prolific on Facebook, and you were quite popular on MySpace when that was around, and it's something that was... it's been a good platform for music makers, hasn't it? Both of those.
Oh, brilliant. Actually, it's been the only source of connection with your audience, because I remember, before the net, you'd think, right, okay, I would love to play a gig in London. And then you think, well, how would I get people there? Right, okay, well, you have to get an agent and, all right, and, all that stuff that you have to go through. Now it's a case of, you can it's directly to the audience, wherever you are. You can go and play anywhere you want. You can play. You don't have to play places that are just through agents and stuff. You can go and play anywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, just anywhere. You want to go and play in the zoo. You can just set up and get people along to the zoo as long as you've got music licenses.
That's it. You can do that. Could you imagine if that was around in the 80s when you first came out?
Well, there's lots of that kind of thought. What things you'd like to take back to that time.
Yeah.
But, it would have been fun. I mean, it's fun now, but, it would have been excellent. Yeah,
so we want to talk a little bit about your career. Of course, a lot of our listeners would definitely know you from your solo work and Haicut 100, of course. You were quite a top of the pops veteran, weren't you, back in the day?
Yeah, I still think that programme should be back. I think that there's something missing. It's like phone boxes or buses or, red buses, phone boxes, and really good things, ideas that we've come up with. Like the guy from Facebook, he hasn't sold his idea because he said, I might not come up with another idea as good as this one. And that's it. The Top of the Pops was a really good idea. And it reflected what was going on currently. And that's always a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like Antiques Roadshow. That's a really good idea. It just works. So there you go. There's a Sunday and there's Antiques Roadshow, and great. And it goes in the season out. Maybe they should have just had it like a seasonal thing. Well, not that music is seasonal. It's kind of annual, perennial.
It's something I miss, definitely.
I mean, I know that there's only we've got later, but that's live. I miss people miming. Miming's brilliant. Miming to those beautifully crafted records. Where do you get to do that?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I had to mime, I just thought this is the best thing ever. Not that I was a pretty crap mimer. I got better at it, but I think my mind used to wander. But it's such a good thing to watch, because it takes so long to craft these records in the studio that it's lovely to see people playing and singing them there, and having fun and mucking about with it. I mean, those old Faces performance on Top of the Pops where they're all playing each other instruments and mucking about. It was good fun. It made music fun.
Yeah.
It's still fun, but you just don't see it because there's no place to be fun. So it'd be great if the BBC got it together and stuff. There's always a reason not to do it, of course, but I think there's a much stronger reason to do it.
But yeah, those standalone performances that were on Top of the Pops, you got the music video, but there was something special about the performances, I found.
Yeah. Well, all other programmes still have their main TV show. It's that thing, that British thing of letting things go, because maybe they jumped ship a bit early, and I know that one. It's that thing of it's not working right now, I mean, Alex Ferguson, Man United, it kind of speaks for itself, really.
Yeah.
Hang on in there. It does work.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I can remember Favourite Shirts being on there. I like that song because it was about a guy called Terry. That was one of the reasons. Yeah. But it was a great pop song anyway, because it had my name in it.
I'm glad you like it, cool with that. That is it in a nutshell. It's as simple as that.
It was a coming-of-age tale as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's it. It was just gathering up all the words I had at the time and putting them into the 3-minute pop song. All your thoughts about your favourite shirt being on the bed, it just so happened to rhyme with somersault on your head. That was all. It was just, bang, feel a little love. And I was seeing a Argentinian lady at the time, so I said, what's favourite shirt in Argentinian? I think she said something like Carino Dime, or it wasn't. I kind of like misheard her or something like that. Anyway, I say Carino Dime, which means it's something else completely. I mean, somebody Argentinian now was listening. If you have any Argentinian listeners, do you? Yeah?
We probably have, actually, because we are global. We'll find that out.
Well, yeah. Camisas preferadas. I think it's something like that. But I said something like, hey, shirt, your favourite shirt is on the bed. So it doesn't really quite work, but it works in a pop song. It's like ingredients, isn't it? Sometimes when you get when you're running low in the fridge on things to eat, you just bung a load of stuff from the fridge into the wok, and it still works.
Yeah.
Bits and bobs all in there at once, and you get yourself a nice colourful plate. That's like favourite shirts. It was just bung a load of stuff in there, and it seemed to work.
Yeah, what I liked about it is it's so simplistic. I know it probably wasn't in the writing, but it just seems so simplistic, and that's what a good pop song is. Yeah,
well, like we didn't realise just all the high calibre of engineers and producers we're working with then now. It's a bit like we look back on each other as musicians and go, wow, good musicians. We're all really good in Haicut. It's sort of, Blair's played with McCartney, Pretenders. Mark Fox, he does all the voice. All those songs you hear, that's him.
Oh, wow.
Puts it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I can remember Pelican West coming out, and obviously Love Plus One was a massive hit for you. It was different than the electronica stuff that was around, and obviously the punk music scene had died out. So, yeah, Haircut 100 coming along at the time, I think, was a total breath of fresh air.
Ah, yeah, it was. It was 1981, the end of 81, beginning of 82, was quite a breath of fresh air anyway, it seemed. Did you remember it?
Yeah, very well.
Generally anyway. I mean, it was a bit strange because there was the beginning of the Falklands and there was that stuff going on, but it seemed really, there was kind of anticipation in the air. We'd had quite a lot of hardship through the late 70s. All the stuff and all the strikes going on, and the gloom of everybody losing their job. We started to sort of like pick it up a bit, didn't we, in the early 80s, and then all this colourful music started to happen that was a bit bonkers. Beginning of the 80s, and it was set up to explode into the 80s that it became, which was a completely different country, wasn't it, at the end of the decade?
Yeah.
But the beginning of it was like the diving board of that decade, which was, looking back now, as an immense decade, really. I mean, I think we're a bit glad to get rid of it. I know, I was. You do that with every decade. You want to quickly get on to the next one. But it was, in hindsight, it was quite a strong and powerful decade, especially musically and creatively, and such amazing shifts in the country there. And I still remember that the amazing moment when Tony Blair had his white shirt on, and that was the change of government. Big moments. I mean, I know that was the 90s, but all these big shifts. So it was a big decade.
When you think back about the 80s, it's the music that comes to the forefront. Obviously, the fashion and the hairstyles, perhaps. That's why these nostalgia nights work so well with the 80s, because it was a great decade for music.
Strong songs, it seems. Yeah, really, really strong songs. Strong songwriting. I mean, the 70s was amazing. I mean, I'm more of a fan of that period for songwriting and for recording-wise, because I feel it's warmer and even more out there. But then you listen to the 80s stuff. It just went completely wacky. There was so many different colours going on. It was like a kaleidoscope of different sounds. And some amazing bands. You have the Smiths at one end, which has exploded into so many different Smiths bands now. The indie thing has just totally taken off into other stratospheres. So you had that going on, and that's always like connected right the way through. And then all the pop side of it, just, with Madonna and things Michael Jackson were doing, you listen to them now and you think, they're from another planet. They're just, it's ethereal music being made, Yeah, great. And when you do listen to them, because they're a reflection of the period as well. Yeah. You took them for granted at the time. When you were dancing to Billie Jean, you just thought, "Oh, this is good," But you don't realise how really good it was until you look back and go, "Wow." Could you imagine anybody making something like Billie Jean now? They'd be, yeah.
Many have tried. Another thing that was good about the 80s was it was the birth of the music video properly, with MTV, etc. It brought a whole new dimension to it, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, MTV, it put music everywhere, didn't it? It started to spread. It was like wildflower. It just took over the whole meadow. And I think we, as Haicut 100, we launched into America purely from MTV. And that would never have happened. It was really hard for anybody to even get a plane ticket, to be honest, get a visa, get anywhere over there. It was just not seen as anything you did. Not since the Beatles had it, it's gone. That was it. The 70s, it was just, you've written it off, I think. And then people started to actually do quite well over there, purely because of MTV. And we went over there and suddenly, wow, there we were playing to, we played to 10,000 people. We were stunned, knocked out in New York. We're playing on this ship. Well, it wasn't on the ship. It was kind of like next to in New York in the harbour. And first time we'd ever seen any kind of audiences that size.
Haicut cracked America, and then with your solo work, you went over there again, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a song that just started to get played over there. When just 1 year, it kind of was. It was called Kite, and it kind of was, meandering around here, but it wasn't really taking off. It was a bit like it wasn't windy enough, and then it just started to just pick up speed in America, and gradually, I mean, I remember Rob from Sony Records saying, "We're just about to drop you, but you've got this song, and it's doing really well in the States, so we can't drop you." I said, "That's good." I said, I'd been through about 3 record companies by that time, as it was, I think. So that was really good, and it just started to pick up, and then it got to number 3 in the college radio charts. So I started touring with all these bands that I hadn't really heard of, just read in the NME about. So that was good. A whole new, different audience out there, and Lemonheads I got to play with, which was brilliant because I really liked them. So all these bands that I liked, because I'd always leant towards that side of things, the indie thing, which goes back to guitars, which goes back to Beatles, which, that kind of thing, that song-based place. That's where I liked. But then again, through the late 70s, all those, I was massive Earth, Wind and Fire, and that's, there was a tinge of it. There was a bit of a Brit funk movement going on. There was in the late 70s, and I remember then it started to come back in 81 in London. Again, it used to go in little waves, occasional waves, but they weren't very big, and then this one seemed to be bigger at that point. There was lots of little youth cultures going on, and we saw that wave, and we were on it, surfing almost immediately.
Yeah.
It was very quick. The waves would come thick and fast in those days.
Mm.
They're subtle now, they're like ripples.
yeah, just skimming, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a folk wave not so long ago, wasn't there, that Mumford & Sons
yeah.
took off on. And wow, look at that amazing success in America.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. That's like now they're like little ripples, but, it's kind of like little acorns, tiny acorns and mighty oaks, because that really has gone immense.
Yeah, that is massive at the moment. Love Plus One was in a couple of films, wasn't it? It was in Knocked Up, and it was in 7, as I remember.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know what happened with that. That's the people that put the scripts together or something or other, just maybe it's their time and it's the soundtrack of the time, and so you get written into these films. That's amazing.
It really is.
Things that you just wouldn't. We weren't thinking about that when I was popped round to Les's house with a bit of an idea, and we're sitting in his kitchen, and he's just reupholstered his ironing boards again, and and then he's got his bass out, and we're going. And going, I went off. Oh, this is quite good, isn't it, Les? Yeah, to the right. Aye. Because I was a big Talking Heads fan.
Yeah.
So every song I had aye, woo, in it. And the scratchy guitar going, Psycho Killer, I was just into love. I was a big Talking Heads fan.
I can see that in the music now, thinking about it. Yeah, you can definitely see some of the influences that you've talked about today.
Well, and that's the marvel of a band that come together, because Mark's Brazilian, Latin American influence, on top of Blair's really solid American drumming, was the foundation for that band. And when that started to happen, we really were quite something. That's when we became actually a bit of a formidable live force. I don't know if anybody saw us live around those early days. It was quite something. I don't think anybody had quite seen that kind of stuff. It was so exciting, but the musicianship as well. We had full-on Tower Power kind of brass, and it was tight. It was really tight and quite something else. So, yeah, really proud of those days.
Yeah. I've got to ask you before we go. I know you did a gig with the guys from Haicut a couple of years ago at the O2, but have you been approached to do a tour, or is that something you would consider?
Actually, there's a Demon, Dermot, who's looking after, because, we're still all in touch, but it's how to do stuff together. And Dermot, who's looking after us, approached Demon Records, and they did a fantastic package for Everything But the Girl, Eden. I don't know. Do you know that album?
Yeah, Eden, yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favourite albums.
Beautiful.
It's amazing record. And they did such a lovely booklet with it, and, you know, and I've got it. And so there's talk of doing that with the reissue of Pelican West, and actually releasing all the album that we were doing, the follow-up album to Pelican West. So I'm now, and if somebody had told me that in 1982, when we're recording that album, that, well, this won't be finished off until 2013, and you'll be slipping something called a CD into your car, even though the car hasn't got a CD still, and you'll be going down the river and writing lyrics and finishing it off, finally. I would have just thought they were nuts. But that is actually what's happening. So it's being finished off. So half of it's finished, and so the rest of it will be finished. And so it'll be really quite strange, because there's, you know, there's backing tracks and some vocals that are on that time, and so they'll have that taste and flavour of that time with current recording. You know, sounds amazing. So, and then there's some new stuff we recorded a couple of years ago that's being done too. So there'll be the original, and then the kind of like old, new, and then the very new.
That's
so
amazing.
It'll be a very lovely package.
Yes.
Actress says with Bishop, it'll be a lovely package. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Nick, for coming on the telephone and spending a bit of time on Six Towns Radio this afternoon.
Oh, I think it's been lovely.
It really has. I found out some more things. You know, always been a bit of a fan, but fantastic stuff. We look forward to hearing that and seeing you live. I know you do a couple of gigs. Can you just tell our listeners the name of your website so they can find you if they need to?
Yeah, it's nickheyward.com, NickHeyward.com.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Nick Heyward.
Oh, my pleasure.